All right, let's dive right into this explainer and decode the macroeconomic and geocosmic timeline that is literally reshaping our world from 2020 to 2032. Look, if you've been feeling like the ground beneath our global institutions is just constantly shifting, well, you're absolutely right. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating analysis that bridges high financial astrology with hard macroeconomic trends. We're going to map out exactly where the global order is heading next. So, we are analyzing a profound reconfiguration of the global order. Now, when we talk about systemic collapse, I know it's super easy to jump straight to doomsday scenarios. But the source material actually frames this not as some apocalyptic end of the world, but rather as a metaphorical birth with pain. It's that incredibly uncomfortable, often volatile, dismantling of outdated hierarchical structures just to make way for a completely new cycle of human development.
Section 1. The macro cycle, past, flashpoint, and future.
Think of this as our roadmap. The journey actually begins with those massive initial systemic shocks back in 2020, and it's accelerating right toward what the data identifies as an explosive climax in 2026. From there, we enter a period of physical realization in 2028, driving straight into the systemic stabilization of a brand new, tech-driven era by 2032. We are just drifting here, guys. We are moving through a highly structured timeline of change. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is the contrast between the failing systems of the past and the architecture of the future. The analysis points to a permanent shift away from those centralized pyramidal models that have pretty much dominated everything since the 1980s. And what replaces them? Network models. We are talking about true decentralized structures, algorithmic transparency, and artificial intelligence taking over as the primary driver of global GDP. Before we look at the specific catalysts, we really need to understand the methodology driving this: geocosmic determinism. Now, to be clear, this isn't your daily newspaper horoscope. It's a rigorous, quantitative timing system tracking exactly when global tension will peak and when new economic paradigms will actually take root. It basically treats these massive planetary shifts as hard indicators for real-world institutional and market events. Moving on to Section 2. 2020 to 2026, the Great Reset to the Flashpoint. So, it all kicked off in 2020. According to the analysis, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn acted as the ultimate catalyst. It officially ended those socioeconomic paradigms we've relied on for over 40 years. This was the true Great Reset of our systemic frameworks. It triggered this severe, undeniable erosion of trust in centralized authorities and forced a massive deconstruction of our institutional foundations. And that institutional collapse, it leads us directly to the upcoming 2026 flashpoint. You might want to circle February 20, 2026 on your calendars. That's when a Neptune-Saturn conjunction occurs exactly on the world axis, that's 0 degrees Aries. This is a highly sensitive degree that triggers a massive, new 36-year global cycle. Its primary function is literally dissolving deep-seated illusions in international law and global economics, while rapidly materializing fresh, visionary ideas. But the tension definitely doesn't stop in February. By July 2026, we hit what the source calls the fiery peak. This is an incredibly volatile T-square alignment of Mars, Uranus, and Jupiter-Pluto, and it's going to unleash sudden systemic shocks and a true geopolitical climax. The data identifies this as the exact moment the old world completely loses its grip, giving way to completely unpredictable, massive technological breakthroughs. Which brings us to Section 3, 2027 to 2032, the Era of Reconstruction. This era is heavily driven by the Uranus in Gemini transit, which stays active all the way until May 2033. Now, Gemini rules information and trade, while Uranus brings radical decentralization. The result? An era of total decentralization, bridging astrology with hard macroeconomics. This is the geocosmic green light for the explosive rise of Bitcoin, foundational DeFi networks like Solana, and revolutionary protocols like Hype and Double Zero. It's the ultimate, full-scale integration of artificial intelligence into the very fabric of our society. Then, by 2028, an aggressive Mars-Sun conjunction in Aries serves as another huge catalyst. This transit represents an unconditional drive toward physical change. You know all those decentralized DeFi and AI theories we've been talking about? Well, in 2028, they will no longer just be concepts. They are going to manifest physically into undeniable, concrete state and social infrastructures. Section 4. Infrastructure of the New World. The builders of the algorithmic era. So, who's actually building this? First up, we've got Nvidia, acting as the physical hardware backbone of this new era. As the uncontested king of AI hardware, they perfectly match the integration requirements dictated by the Uranus and Gemini transit. With their massive 2026 AI factories and the upcoming Vera Rubin platform, their dominance in data centers and agentic AI is foundational. However, the analysis does point out some very real risks to keep in mind, including their high valuation, immense competition, and, naturally, increasing regulatory scrutiny. Next up is Google, or Alphabet, representing the new era's demand for informational dominance. Through their proprietary Gemini AI models, custom TPU chips, and a massive cloud infrastructure, they are deeply woven into the global flow of information. They're perfectly positioned to capitalize on this incoming wave of decentralized AI-generated content. But again, there are risks here, particularly around antitrust regulations as the old world frantically tries to maintain its control. Then we have SpaceX and Starlink. Guys, this is where physical network decentralization actually becomes a reality. By providing global connectivity via satellite, Starlink completely bypasses legacy, vulnerable terrestrial infrastructure. And this is vital. It secures access to information everywhere, even in remote or crisis zones, and provides the physical web required to make true global network models of governance and economy possible in that 2028 cycle. So here is a look at the complete technological stack of the New World Order. You've got Nvidia powering the computes alongside decentralized networks like Render and IO.net really stepping up for distributed GPU sharing. You've got Google establishing informational dominance, SpaceX providing the physical, decentralized web, and foundational frameworks like Solana and Bitcoin stepping in to handle the finance side. Together, they are literally replacing central authority with algorithmic transparency.
Now, while this transition period leading up to 2026 obviously carries extreme volatility and systemic shock, the analysis is crystal clear on one thing. The risk of clinging to fragile legacy institutions is far greater than embracing the future. Fighting the macro trend means missing out on a massive AI productivity leap. The real rewards lie in positioning yourself within foundational AI tech, embracing the algorithmic transparency of DeFi protocols, and utilizing these massive new decentralized networks.
The timeline is set, and the transition from pyramidal hierarchy to decentralized networks is well underway. So I'll leave you with this crucial thought to consider as we navigate this extraordinary period of destruction and reconstruction. As the old world collapses into that volatile 2026 flashpoint, how are you positioning yourself for the algorithmic transparency and decentralized reality of 2032? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and definitely stay curious as we watch this incredible global transformation unfold.